Look, if you want billionaire level success, you need to stop chasing shiny objects and start doing what actually works. Billionaires, they're not smarter than you. They're just focused longer, harder, and with more clarity than most people can handle. They don't wait for motivation. They build systems. They create momentum. They get obsessed with solving problems that matter. Most people waste years of their lives trying to chase success without ever understanding the one thing that truly creates it: solving real problems for real people. It sounds simple, but it's the golden rule that separates billionaires from dreamers. You don't need a revolutionary idea. You don't need a perfect product. What you need is to get crystal clear on who you're helping and what painful problem you're solving for them. That's where real leverage lives. Here's what I've learned after building and scaling multiple companies and coaching thousands of founders. People don't pay for features, they pay for outcomes. They pay for transformation. You think Uber built a billion-dollar company because they made an app? No, they solved the frustration of standing on a street corner waving at cabs. Airbnb didn't get massive because they had pretty photos. They let people travel cheaper, safer, and with more local experience. The money flows to the solution, always. Not the tech, not the branding, not the hype, the solution. But most people miss this. They build what they think is cool. They fall in love with their idea before ever talking to a customer. That's backwards. You don't create demand, you uncover it. And you do that by getting in the trenches. Talk to people. Watch how they work. Understand what's broken in their day-to-day life and then fix it. If they're already hacking together a DIY solution, that's gold. The more painful the problem, the more urgent the fix, the more they'll pay you for solving. That's how you create something worth scaling. You want to build a business? Start with the customer's pain. That's your North Star. Your job isn't to build something new. It's to remove friction, reduce waste, save time, eliminate frustration, and create clarity. When you do that, people don't need convincing. They're already looking for you. That's why billionaires obsess over feedback loops. They don't guess, they ask, they test, they iterate. It's not about perfection, it's about traction. They care less about being right and more about being useful. Look, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to find something people already need and do it 10x better, faster, cheaper, easier. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. It's not about passion, it's about usefulness. If you're passionate about your product, but no one's willing to pay for it, that's not a business, it's a hobby. Real entrepreneurs don't chase excitement, they chase effectiveness. And effectiveness starts when you step outside your own ego and step into your customer's shoes. You want to win big? Solve a painful problem. Make someone's life better, then do it again. That's how billionaires think. That's how they move. And it all starts with serving real people with real needs. Time is the one currency every billionaire protects with obsession. It's non-renewable. Once it's gone, it's gone. You can lose money and make it back. You can rebuild a business, a reputation, even a brand, but you can never buy back time. And that's why high performers treat it with such intensity. They don't just manage their time, they weaponize it. Every minute has a purpose. Every hour is intentional. There is no room for distractions, no space for unnecessary meetings, and zero tolerance for energy leak. The world is full of noise. The people who win are the ones who know how to tune it out and stay focused on the signal. When you study billionaires, you notice one thing fast. Their calendars are sacred. They don't start their day by checking email or scrolling through social media. They start it with clarity. They have a system. They block time for deep work. They schedule thinking time. They protect their mornings. They say no more than they say yes, not because they're rude or too busy, but because they understand opportunity cost at a level most people don't. Every yes to a low value activity is a no to building something that actually matters. That kind of ruthless prioritization isn't cold, it's necessary. It's the difference between staying busy and building a legacy. Most people live in reactive mode. They let other people's agendas run their lives. They wake up, check notifications, put out fires, and by the end of the day, wonder where all their energy went. That's not how billionaires operate. They don't react, they lead. They create space to think. They protect their bandwidth. They hire people not just to do tasks, but to protect their time. That's why delegation isn't a luxury, it's a strategy. If you're doing things that someone else could do for $20.00 an hour, you're capping your own value. The most successful entrepreneurs I know are obsessed with removing themselves from the day-to-day so they can operate in their zone of genius. They know their time is worth $1,000, 0 cents an hour or more, and they act like it. And here's the brutal truth. How you treat your time reflects how much you value your potential. If you're giving it away to things that don't move the needle, endless scrolling, gossip, tasks that don't align with your mission, you're not serious about your goals. You're playing small. Protecting your time doesn't mean being unavailable. It means being intentional. It means knowing your top 3 priorities and building your day around them. It means eliminating everything that doesn't serve your vision. Time isn't something you manage, it's something you master. Every billionaire I've ever met lives by that code. If you want to operate at that level, start by looking at how you spend your time. Because the way you spend your minutes is how you spend your life. And if you're not controlling your time, someone else is. Hustle will get you off the ground, but if that's all you've got, you'll burn out long before you ever hit your goals. I see it all the time. Founders grinding 16-hour days, wearing exhaustion like a badge of honor, thinking that more effort equals more results. And that's the myth. Hustle is a tool, not a strategy. The people who scale, who go from 0 to millions and beyond, don't just hustle harder. They build systems. They create repeatable processes that produce results without needing them to push every button. That's how they win. That's how they escape the trap of trading time for money. That's how they create freedom. In the beginning, yes, you need hustle, you need grit, you need to show up early, stay late, wear every hat, and figure it out as you go. That's how momentum is created. But the mistake is thinking that phase should last forever. Hustle is the launch pad. Systems are the rocket. Systems are what allow you to scale without breaking. They allow you to hire, train, and delegate with precision. They allow you to step back and watch the business grow without you being in every meeting, answering every email, making every decision. If everything in your company depends on you, you don't own a business. You own a job with overhead. The difference between a business that plateaus and one that scales is systemization. That means documented processes. That means playbooks. That means automating what can be automated, outsourcing what can be outsourced, and measuring everything. If it's not measured, it can't be optimized. If it's not repeatable, it's not scalable. When you build systems, you create leverage. And leverage is what billionaires obsess over. It's the ability to get 10x results with half the effort. It's how you go from working in your business to working on your business. That's the shift. The best part, systems give you clarity. When everything has a structure, when roles are defined, when tasks are tracked, decision-making becomes fast, execution becomes consistent, communication becomes clean. That removes stress. That eliminates bottlenecks. That frees up your mental bandwidth to focus on strategy, innovation, growth. Most people stay stuck in chaos because they never take the time to build. They think systems slow them down. But the truth is, not having systems is what keeps them stuck. Every hour you spend building a system saves you dozens of hours in the future. That's the compounding power of structure. So, if you're tired of running on the treadmill of hustle, if you feel like your growth is capped, it's time to step back and ask yourself, what are you doing over and over again that could be turned into a process? Where are the inefficiencies bleeding your time? Where could a system replace stress with flow? The highest performers don't do more, they build better. They remove themselves from the center of everything. They don't work harder, they work smarter, and systems are the difference. You want to level up, then stop surrounding yourself with people who keep you small. One of the biggest shifts I've made in my life, and I've seen it in every successful entrepreneur I've ever coached, is getting around people who are already playing the game at a higher level. It's not just motivation, it's proximity. It's being around people who normalize what used to feel impossible. You see them making bold moves, solving bigger problems, leading with clarity, and suddenly your old excuses don't hold up anymore. Their mindset rubs off, their standards raise yours, their habits challenge your comfort zone. That's how growth happens. Most people don't fail because they lack skills. They fail because they stay stuck in rooms where growth isn't expected, where ambition makes others uncomfortable, where playing big gets labeled as ego. You can't grow in an environment that doesn't stretch you. And here's the truth. You become the average of the people you spend the most time with. Not because of inspiration, but because of calibration. If everyone around you is making excuses, blaming the economy, coasting through life, you will too. Not because you want to, but because that's what feels normal. But if you shift your environment, if you start hanging around people who are running faster, thinking bigger, executing sharper, you start to calibrate to that level. You start thinking, why not me? I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into masterminds, coaching, events, and private communities, not just for information, but for access, for perspective, for those 5-minute conversations that change the trajectory of your business. And every time it paid off, because being in the right room unlocks something you can't get from YouTube videos or books. It gives you real feedback, real accountability, real strategy. Sometimes all it takes is seeing someone else doing what you thought couldn't be done. And suddenly your limiting beliefs shatter. You stop shrinking your dreams to fit your circle, and you start expanding your circle to match your dreams. But here's the hard part. To step into those rooms, you might have to let go of old ones. You might have to distance yourself from people who don't get your vision. That doesn't mean you love them less. It means you love your future more. It means you're choosing to honor your potential over your comfort. That's not easy, but it's necessary, because the right people will not only believe in your vision, they'll push you to reach it faster. They won't let you play small. They won't let you coast. They'll call you forward. And that pressure, that's where the transformation happens. Billionaires don't rise alone. They build networks, they join tribes. They put themselves in rooms where growth is the only option. And if you want to play at that level, it starts with one choice: upgrade your circle.